to see. Hey guys, I'm Shannon.
And I'm Tasha, and this is the It's Fine podcast. So this is our very first one, so welcome. We are so glad to have you here. Today, on our first video, we're just going to kind of talk about what we're doing, why we're doing it,
why are we doing this,
and a little bit about us, who we are, how we got to know each other, and hopefully how we get to connect with you, okay? So sit down and have fun.
You're gonna want some coffee for this. So anyway, my name is Shannon Lynch, and a little bit about me is that I am a wife and a mom, and I do all the things, but I'm going to tell you, my oldest is 24 and my baby is 19, so therefore I really do nothing, and it's great. That's why I have to be friends with her so that she can remind me what it's like to do all the things. So anyway, I've been married for 2 months. 2 months. 2 months now. And I am married to a great fella. His name is Steven. My daughters Riley and Reagan are around somewhere, and I have a bonus daughter named Hunter. And so we're just working it out, trying to figure out what it looks like to blend a family. I don't know where you're at in your situation, but maybe you could learn something from me as I'm learning from you guys. I'm going to need your help.
All right, so my turn. Hold on. I should. I gotta take my medicine out. Hey, listen though. Look. See, they're coming
every time.
Coming along nicely.
Do you have spit on your chin again? Okay.
You guys would love me even if I did, right? Okay, so my name's Tasha, and I am married to Jose. We have been married for almost 15 years. In March, it'll be 15 years.
That's a long time.
Forever. It's okay. It's all fun. No bad times. I mean, we kind of live our life up here. So anyway, 3 kids. We've got Ariana, she's 12, Isaiah, he's 10, and Elijah is 3. And I just recently quit. Well, actually, a little over a year ago, I quit my job to stay home and homeschool the kids. So basically, every time we meet, it's a whole lot of like, and then I can jump back into the crazy because she's great and God brought us together. So we decided to get together because for the last 4 years,
4 years, y'all.
Yeah, 4 years. We've been meeting every Friday morning, usually at Panera or something, always with carbs and coffee, so it's fine.
Lots of carbs.
Yeah. So anyway, we've been through a lot together, and the one thing that we have done together is just been real and vulnerable. We have cried so much together. We've been through marriages and divorces and babies and big kids and little kids and weight gain and weight loss and just everything.
Job
changes and cars and houses and like
moving.
Pretty much whatever happens, like we've been through it in 4 years. And so the cool thing about it, and just chime in whenever you're ready, is, well, no, when we first started talking, like we're just kind of getting to know each other, and we're going to get into how we got to know each other. But it was very clear from the start that we have a very similar vision for our lives. And I think it's just God kind of doing this and crossing our paths because he has a plan for what he wants to do through us.
Right.
And so finally, after someone decided to just jump into it,
that was me.
Shannon's getting a call.
Sorry, my work phone is ringing.
She's so important.
I'm not important.
Super important. I'm just a mom, so if anybody's calling, it's a bill collector.
That's not true.
Or my mom. Anyway,
I called you at least twice.
In 4 years, she probably called me twice, and one of them was maybe to pick her up because her car is getting new tires. Anyway, the point is we know that God's doing a thing, and we just want to follow his lead. So why are we here?
We don't know.
But we're glad that we're here, and we have a lot of fun.
We do.
We'll talk a lot about like our personality types and our styles and just what the heck is going on. But more than anything, and I'm gonna pause here in a half second. We want to be real. We want to be authentic and genuine and vulnerable, and just let you guys in, and just, you know what I mean, like break down the screen, you know, in between us, and really just be friends, be community.
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing. I mean, you see people on social media, and they've got their lives put together. Hey, guess what? We don't.
Good thing you can only see this much of my room because there's stuff on the floor. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
Is that a dead cat in the corner?
No, he's alive.
Oh, okay. So anyway, here's the thing. if you are looking to find someone who can guide you in all the things because they've got it all together, this is not going to be what you're looking for. So basically, we're just trying to work out how we live life every single day. And that's what we've been doing for the past 4 years. So the way that we met is, I'm just going to delete that. My phone keeps ringing and I don't know why.
There is a do not disturb.
I just hit do not disturb. Here,
right.
Let me go to me. Do not disturb. There it is. Okay.
She found it.
Anyway, so this is something that I need for you guys to know is our story at the very beginning was a very compelling story for me, for my spirit. 4 years ago, I was living in Savannah, Georgia. We're in Oklahoma right now, but had lived there for 40 years. Y'all, I'm old. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That's why I have to, have these young bucks come alongside of me over here.
38. Yeah. Go ahead, guys.
Anyway, I had never lived further than 2 hours away. Oh, that's the live cat. 2 hours away from my home city of Savannah, Georgia. And God called me to interview for a job in Oklahoma City. And I was like, dude, that's a real place. I thought it was just a musical. I had no idea. So me and my husband at the time hopped on a plane and we headed to this interview event that we had. And that's where I met Tasha. And we were both interviewing. And one of the things that happened was because the interview event was so intense. You would agree that was intense, right?
Yeah.
Super intense. You kind of just, it's like war. You just kind of bond.
Yeah.
We called it the Hunger Games.
For real.
It was bad. So anyway, it was wonderful, but it was intense.
Yeah.
So anyway, we really bonded through that. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. But I ended up getting the job and Tasha was told, hey, why don't you just wait a little bit? And I know why I got the job, and that was because God needed to move me out of Savannah, Georgia when he did. Whereas with Tasha, she had a different journey. And so I will never forget feeling so lost as to how do you even hook up electricity in Oklahoma?
Because it's so different than anywhere else in the world.
Who do you call?
Y'all feel me?
I don't know. Unless it's, the Georgia Power Company, I don't know who to call. No, it's not. It has an O in it.
You're not in Georgia anymore.
I know. So anyway, I will never forget. And I put an SOS out on Facebook and I was like, I don't know how to do all the things. And I was just freaking out on Facebook. And Tasha, she Facebooked me and she was like, hey, so if you need any help, I'll be glad to help you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have truly made a friend. And I will never forget what she told me. Her words to me were, maybe I wasn't the girl that was supposed to get the job. Maybe I was the girl that was supposed to help the girl who got the job. And I just remember thinking that was so much humility. And this is someone that I am going to want to get to know. And she will be someone so pivotal in my walk. And from that day forward, she has been my accountability partner. For me, this past 4 years, has been very, very hard. Moving 1,100 miles away from home was difficult. I was in a turbulent marriage, to say the least. And then, I'm starting to empty nest. When we moved here, I had a sophomore in high school and a kid that had graduated high school. And so I was looking at the end of my parenting, the actual parenting journey. Now I'm into the mentor journey with my kids. But anyway, she's been there for all of that, through the divorce, through meeting my new husband, and who I adore, and for the wedding, just all the things. She's listened to me just pull my hair out. She's listened to me cry. I mean, there's nothing we have not been through.
Right.
So, and then, with you, I walk into the scene and you get knocked up. So, I mean, not by me.
No, by my husband.
Jose.
by my husband, Jose. He'll probably show up somehow in this. So yeah, just to kind of...
Wait, did I say my husband's name is Steven?
Please
he has a name. His name is Steven.
Yes, he does have a name. He's a great guy. He is a great guy.
It's with a PH.
Don't run it.
Steven with a PH.
Because F's are L, right?
No, it's a V.
in. Anyway, so, okay, all right. So, just to kind of see how this happened. So, we're at the interview event, and it was like the Hunger Games. Girl. And we were in the trenches, and it's a great vetting process. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I learned a ton just going through the interview event. So, she got the job that I thought I was called to. You know, I thought so. So I go home and, you know, like, we bonded. It was great bonding. And you know, when it gets hard and you're in the trenches, for me, I get squeezed. Humor comes out. And I think Shannon with her as well. And so we bonded over that. And then we just found kindred spirits. So we go home and we're done with the interview event. I didn't get the job and I was crushed. God, did I hear you wrong? Like, am I walking in disobedience? Like, what in the world happened? And I'm just sitting there and they just said, keep doing what you're doing. You know, we believe there's a seat on the bus for you, just not yet, and all this. And so I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And so in between lamenting and, you know, wearing sackcloth and ashes, I was just so upset. I get on Facebook, because isn't that what we do when we have stuff? We try to bury it with social media.
Numb ourselves, distract ourselves.
So basically, I was on social media scrolling, and I saw this girl, oh my gosh, I'm going to Oklahoma. And so knee-jerk reaction was to be like, oh, look at her gloating. She got this job that hundreds of people wanted.
I was literally paralyzed in fear. There
hundreds of people, probably thousands. I mean, anyway, I was like, here she's gloating. But that's not, I knew that wasn't the real of it. And I felt in my spirit, like, reach out and help her. Like, what if you were in that position? You wanted to be in that position. What if you were? And so just easy little message, and she accepted. And that gave a little bit of purpose to my pain, you know, and I put quotes in it because in hindsight, that was not painful, you know, but in the moment it felt like the world was crushing. So anyway, driving by rent houses and stalking neighborhoods for her and all this stuff, she came, and then, you know, we just decided to start meeting because we knew our stories were similar, kind of, and that's what started, and then suddenly I'm pregnant.
Not by me. Again, it was Jose.
Yes, my husband. So we had been married, and just forgive me on the numbers because my husband is a numbers guy, but I think we had been married about 8 years or so. The math doesn't check out. It's fine. Not at this time. We had been married 8 years prior. Our marriage, it was just not real. It wasn't real. We weren't handling our business. We weren't duking it out. We weren't fighting. We weren't doing all the things. We were just living very surface. And so enough came enough, and I actually left my husband. And I filed for divorce. We had 2 kiddos at the time, and we spent 4 months apart, and it was horrible. But that's where my intimacy with Christ was really, like, that's where I really learned it. We'll get into that story, I'm sure, one day later. But we got back together, and a year after we had gotten back together, I got pregnant. And so here I am with this job possibility, then I get pregnant, and it didn't work, and then I'm sitting there pregnant. So we just start meeting because, you know, again, we just bond well.
Kindred spirits.
Later on, I did get hired for the same position at a different location, and so we continued the meeting, and that was great because we had other things to talk about, to sharpen one another about, and I had the baby. And
he's the cutest ever.
Oh, he's so ornery. He's 3. You'll hear about him as well. So we just kept meeting, and then a little over a year ago, I felt that I was supposed to step away and go back to homeschooling, and so we took a 4-month hiatus.
We didn't see each other for like 3 or 4 months. It was crazy.
I was convinced that she hated me. I don't know.
I just was out of my mind. So,
she was
because at the same time, that she, on the same day, she stepped down from her position. I got moved to another location in a different position. Yeah. And it was just such a traumatic thing for me because I had been divorced for all of 2 weeks, and I was having to leave the community that I had built at this one location, and I was having to go to another one. Yeah. And the reason we're calling this It's Fine is because when it happened, she sent me a little cartoon of a dog who there's a fire going on behind him.
Is on fire.
And his skin is melting off. And
his
he's
eyeballs are like going
everything about this is fine. I'm fine with this.
I'm fine.
It's fine.
And I think he has a cup of coffee and he just slowly drinks
he was just drinking the coffee. It's fine.
I'm okay. Yeah, it's fine.
And that's just kind of how we felt. Yeah. And it was a year ago, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago, marked the year. Yeah. Marked the year. And
June 7th, actually.
Was it June 7th?
Uh-huh. June. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Okay, so it's been a little over a year.
Oh, that's right.
But she's not. So anyway, So anyway, this past year has just been a year of refinement for both of us. Mm-hmm. I am not the same person that I was a year ago, and neither is she. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you are self-aware, when you have any kind of awareness of how you impact the world around you, through your actions, through your attitude, through your perspectives, through all of those things, what you'll find is you're never the same person a year later than you are today. Mm-hmm. And that's the hope. But the hope is that you're going to be a better person.
I should have let it keep playing because it's a really cool ringtone. Anyway.
I don't know what just happened.
It's probably a bill collector. Like I said, anybody that calls me is either my mama or they want money. I've actually never had bill collectors call, but continue on.
Mine says scam likely when it's a bill collector, so I can just delete.
I just don't answer.
So anyway, there's no such thing as when you're doing personal growth as staying the same. You can't stay the same. You're either moving backwards or you're moving forwards. And sometimes moving forwards looks like you're moving backwards. And I would think that a year ago, that's kind of where we were. Mm-hmm. We were moving forward, but it was like a turtle running through molasses. And it just didn't feel like we were gaining any traction. Yeah. It was just, and we were listening to the things that were going on in our heads, which you should never believe the things that go on in your heads. You should always test it against reality by saying it out loud so that someone else can bring you back, which is why we do this. Right. Because we don't want to believe all the things that we think. I need to tell her what I'm thinking so that she can be like, hey, so I don't think that's quite the case. And let me tell you why. Mm-hmm. And so last year at this time, we were both just listening to what was going on. She was thinking I wasn't calling because I hated her. But in actuality, I wasn't calling because I was so bogged down with my life circumstance and the thickness of it. The thickness of the divorce. I didn't know where I was going to be living. I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep my job. I thought my kid was going to be moving out and I was going to be an empty nester all at the same time. There were a couple of things that were going on in the background that had been put in my life that were not true and I was having to deal with. But yet the ramifications they would be great. I mean, not good, but they would be humongous if they were to happen. And so there was just a lot and I was retreating. I mean, because that's what we do when things get too much. Sometimes I'll retreat.
Well, and I was believing the lie that she wasn't calling me because it was me. Mm-hmm. And so I knew she had just gone through a divorce. I knew she was going to another location. Mm-hmm. And it was all about me. And so she was retreating and she was wrapped up in this whirlwind. Yeah. And so I had just quit my job. I was homeschooling or about to homeschool my kiddos. Mm-hmm. I didn't, we moved to this town because of that job. So I'm trying to find my legs, trying to figure it out. And again, we were going through the same thing together, but we weren't together. Mm-hmm. We weren't there to sharpen one another, to pick each other up, to just be down there in the trenches together. We weren't. We were pulled apart. And that's okay, because we have other people in our lives, but we know that God called us together for a purpose. And again, that's kind of what brings us all here, all of us, you guys and us together, because He's really done a thing and He's going to continue to do a thing. We believe that. Mm-hmm. It's been a crazy year, like she said. Like, she's gone through so much. And I worked in a faith community in a church, and I said, and I kind of say it jokingly, but I think there's more truth to it than I want to lean into. I call on Jesus far more at home with my kids than I did when I was employed, and that was part of more of the culture, so to speak. But now I'm out here in the real world, and like my kids are talking back, and there's attitude, and we're getting closer to hormones and like not teenager years, but they're super duper preteens. But still, there's just so much real life that I'm in. Mm-hmm. And there's not that there's anything wrong with church life or, being off staff. But like, it was just a huge culture shock for me is what I'm trying to say. And so when we came back together, all of a sudden she's getting married and I'm like, what? But here we go. And we pick right back up. I mean, the only difference is we met at night for sushi instead of in the morning for carbs and coffee. But yeah, so here we are. Here we are now. And she kicked my tail probably 2 weeks ago and said, let's do the thing. And then so I go like this sometimes when I'm nervous. My armpits. And then we all know what happens next. Superstar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
So anyway, we just really feel like God is calling us to just shed some light on the behind the scenes instead of the highlight reel. Because honestly, if you were to look at Facebook and just all the things, even on my page, sometimes I can make it look, because I mean, seriously, when you're dating someone and they're giving you the full court press, what's to be sad about, right? And so anyway, it just looks so good on the outside. But honestly, first of all, it took a lot of work to get there. Mm-hmm. And secondly, we're still in it. Yeah. Still in the muck and mire. So this is our question to you. Knowing that we are in all the different seasons and we have our toe in all the different waters. Is that a thing? Having your toe in the water?
Yeah, you dip your toe in the water in a pool. There are 2 ways to get into a pool. You can dip your toe into it, or you can just jump in! It's from Superstar, the movie.
I'm really scared.
I've got friends that would know that quote. Fine. Go ahead, keep going. So either the muck in the mire, the toe in the water.
Mm-hmm. What are you interested in hearing about? Because, we have a lot of content that we could talk about, but we want to know, what do you want to hear about? If you could hear us jabberjaw about anything, that's a word. It's a thing. What would it be? Because we want to step into that with you guys in our imperfect way. Yeah. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, we just want to honor the life that God has given us. We want to honor the people God has surrounded us with. And we just want you to be able to find Him regardless of situation. Because a lot of times our focus is on the circumstance and not on the one thing that will get you through the circumstance. So what can we do?
Yeah, what can we do? And one thing that we have said a million times, it's so much easier looking outward in to see God's work, God's hand. And so she'll come to me with something, or she'll say so, she'll just bring something up. And I'm like, well, that's easy. This, and this, and this.
And I've been stewing over it for 5 days.
And likewise, I go lamenting, crying, and she tells me, she knew the what for. So that's kind of what it is. We're not coming from a place of we know how to do it. We know how to do all the things. It's so you can see Jesus work in our lives. You will see Him in your own life, because when you see it, it's easier to apply that to your life. Oh, okay. That could be a thing. You know what I mean? So we believe that God will use this, and all of the silliness and the tears that'll come and the laughter and all of the things. So just let us know if there's anything that you kind of want to just talk about. Give us some content.
Yeah. I mean, just make some comments or Facebook us, whatever.
It's not the Tasha show.
No, it's the Shannon show. Wait, what?
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine.
I'm fine.
All right. So on that, I guess this is where we just
this is where we deuces.
Sign out. Peace out.
I don't know how to do this.
You hit the stop.
Okay, bye.